Speaking of Donald Trump, I was stunned and amazed by his new White House spokeswoman today. She's actually the youngest ever in that job.
Democrats and the media are now unloading all their nasty attacks on rising Trump White House star and new press secretary, Karoline.
Indeed, there is no denying the increasing popularity of the daytime television industry, and it goes beyond the typical roundtable chit-chat this time. No, this is far more juicy. The ladies of The View are in a lot of trouble, so buckle up. And the young, astute, and unrepentant conservative who is upending the White House is solely to blame. The youngest press secretary in history, Karoline Leavitt, is undoubtedly causing a stir in the media and in politics. To put it nicely, the hosts of The View were not expecting this. Let's now give you an example of the situation. In the White House briefing room, 27-year-old Karoline Leavitt made her first appearance as a press secretary. She made a significant difference. She read from more than a script. Like so many others before her, she delivered with poise and confidence. And yes, she did so without binders or notes. But the women of The View were silent, not cheering her on for breaking new ground. And we mean really low when we say low.
I think she's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's
a section of their show, Joy Behar, is capable of doing it alone. She made a comment that went viral for all the wrong reasons. Behar said she was only employed by Leavitt because, in her own words, Donald Trump thinks highly of her. Yes, she didn't just reduce the entire background and qualifications of this young woman to her beauty.
I would like this young lady this is her first job, I would like her to do her homework. Because she said something yesterday that really pissed me off. And that was, she said there will be no wokeness here. Oh yeah. Let me explain something to you. Because without that wokeness, you might not have that job. Yeah. Because women were not invited to that table. Women were not invited to many tables in this nation. The reason we fought and busted our behinds to make sure that you didn't have to worry about this. And now to hear you talk about it and to hear anybody talk about the wokeness was put in place for a reason. Because black people couldn't get into colleges. Because women could not get into the colleges they wanted to go to. This is all women. Yeah. See, this is not black, Asian women. This is all women. Women were not invited to this party. It was a man's look, and we busted our asses to make sure that...
Whoopi Goldberg expressed her own opinion, saying that if it weren't for what, Leavitt wouldn't even have a job. According to Whoopi, she dubbed it wokeness. Women like Leavitt are only permitted to sit at the table because of this so-called wokeness. As you may imagine, such remarks led to anarchy. Like a Christmas tree, social media was on fire. Critics pointed out Goldberg and Behar's hypocrisy in their comments. Ultimately, the objective is to empower and advance women regardless of their political affiliation. That appears to be the case only if you agree with them. One reader noted that if a Republican said anything even slightly similar, they would be crucified. Disgusting, another person said. Joy Behar, an anti-woman, claims that Karoline Leavitt's attractiveness helped her land a job. The outcry would never stop if someone said it about a press secretary who was liberal. Oh my goodness, does Karoline have the invoices to support her statements? Let's now discuss her credentials. She was the national press secretary for Trump's 2024 campaign before being appointed press secretary. She even served under former press secretary Kayleigh McEnany and as communications director for Representative Elise Stefanik during the first Trump administration. In addition, she ran for Congress in her native state of New Hampshire, where she narrowly lost the general election after winning the primary. It is therefore absurd to claim that she is unqualified. However, it appears that The View no longer places a high premium on completing homework.
She's just 27 years old, but boy, was she giving it to the Trump haters in her first White House.
However, things get even more intriguing at this point. Karoline was not going to tolerate these remarks. Oh no. The intensity of her clapback left jaws on the ground. She was unreserved in her condemnation of the mainstream media, and consequently, programs such as The View, for their obvious prejudice and hypocrisy during her subsequent press briefing. Not just against President Trump, but against everyone who has the courage to defend their beliefs, "We will make the media responsible for their falsehoods and smears," she said. There was silence in the room. The lowering of the microphones was almost audible. "You should reconsider if you believed that to be the end of it." The scope of Karoline's answer went beyond the press briefing room. It spread like wildfire. Her popularity soared on social media. Karoline Leavitt is a media management master, according to one user. Another says The View should be ashamed of themselves because she is not only smart, but also brave. The hashtag was removed. The View even became more well-known, with many individuals demanding that it be discontinued completely. Let's return to The View for a moment, as the consequences extended beyond criticism on social media. Oh no. ABC officials are apparently in complete panic as a result of the criticism. Rumor has said that producers are frantically trying to figure out how to stop this catastrophe. Are you really to blame? Some sources claim that Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg might suddenly be viewed as liabilities. The program has previously made contentious remarks, but this time it feels different. Even their most devoted viewers are now doubting the show's continued existence due to the huge response.
Isn't it rich that The View is saying she got the job based on looks when DEI is all about based on...
Moreover, not all of the noise is coming from supporters or detractors. Advertisers are closely monitoring the outcome of all of this, according to some whistleblowers. According to reports, well-known sponsors have begun to withdraw from the program, or at the very least reconsider their existing collaborations. According to one insider, some big brands are worried about being linked to what is being called a toxic atmosphere, particularly in light of the growing tendency of customers holding businesses responsible for their affiliations. The witness went on, "They don't want the headache, and let's face it, networks start to listen when the money starts to walk." Several former View staff members have begun to anonymously share their opinions about the show's culture, which is just fueling the flames. According to some, the hosts have a history of acting in ways that have been allowed to continue unchecked for years, so this is not the first time they have gone too far. According to a former employee, this is only the beginning of what goes on behind the scenes. A lot more never reaches the surface. Even though these allegations have not been confirmed, they are undoubtedly escalating the debate surrounding the program. Conventional chat shows like The View are having trouble sustaining their audience as more and more viewers look to independent content producers and podcasts for news and viewpoints. The show is at a turning point because of ongoing controversies that cast doubt on its applicability in the current daytime TV environment. Growing dissatisfaction is evidenced by recent calls for the show's termination and possible legal action, particularly from individuals like Karoline Leavitt. In the meantime, during Karoline Leavitt's time as White House press secretary, important reforms were implemented to improve media relations transparency. Her efforts have drawn criticism due to worries about the possibility of false information. Even if they have been commended for facilitating journalist access, ABC has to make crucial choices about how to handle these problems as The View negotiates them in light of changing viewer preferences and the larger media environment. What do you think will happen to The View and the media industry as a whole? What do you think about the future of The View and Karoline Leavitt's actions?